I did like Mike Tyson because he bit off an ear, and I will tell you, once you get the taste for human flesh, you don't go back.
Oh man, well, I wanted to marry Bret Hart. Fighters, I watched Tank Abbott, the Gracies. I mean, right now, like I said, I'm a big Forrest Griffin fan. Don't get me started. Mr. Perfect is my favorite wrestler. He's amazing. I don't know if people watch pro wrestling, but yeah.
Well, now after I moved to United States, of course, I had to go towards Ronda Rousey. I started martial arts when I was 16. I wasn't that much I was into, but I was just starting it. Of course, I loved the movies with Bruce Lee, Van Damme, who else? Chuck Norris, and I've seen all of them. So pretty much that's probably kind of it, yeah.
Hulk Hogan. I mean, you know, I watched boxing. Boxing was my main thing. Muhammad Ali. You got Tyson. You have, I'm drawing blanks right now. Miguel Cotto was another boxer I watched a lot back in the day. You have so many boxers that I used to watch, but like, wrestler type people and stuff like that, I would say like Hulk Hogan and The Rock. The Rock, I used to be a big fan of The Rock back in the day. And what was the name of the other? The Undertaker. The Undertaker, yeah.
So my favorite fighter is definitely George St. Pierre. I loved him before I married his cousin, so that was just a really cool perk of it. So yeah, no, I love him. He's humble, he's super sweet, he's talented, he trains so hard. So he's definitely my favorite. But I grew up watching like The Ultimate Fighter, like season 1 when it first came out. I watched that. So like Forrest Griffin, Michael Bisping, all those guys, I watched them kind of grow into the UFC, and that was really cool. So any of the really like the guys that first started it are my favorite.
So I don't really know any fighters or wrestlers, but I support them all. They're great. They're great. I have a friend who's hopeful for UFC. I think he might have like done something for UFC already. His name's Miguel, and he's killing it. So I'm a fan of his.
Weird, but I grew up watching Macho Man and Hulk Hogan. Yeah, I think everyone growing up was all into, the ones that are my age at least. It was all around the time of Hulk Hogan, Macho Man. Those were the two main ones that people would watch and, want to jump off of the bed acting like you're Hulk Hogan, or, jumping into the ring or trying to fight someone, doing his little voice imitations and Macho Man's impersonations and stuff. So those would be the two that I would say that I grew up watching and idolizing.
My favorite fighter or wrestler of all time would definitely be The Rock. I just think he's so badass, and he just seems like a really cool guy. All the interviews I've seen, he's humble, he admits his past mistakes, and he moves forward. And he's a movie star, and I love acting, so I also connect with him on that level of passion.
My favorite wrestlers, female wrestlers, basically for me, it would be, there's 3 of them actually, and every one of them is what I kind of want to be a piece of. Chyna for power, Trish Stratus for sex appeal, and Molly Holly for her technical abilities. Put that all in one, that's what I want to be. That's my goal.
I mean, growing up, my dad watched boxing, and so always Muhammad, of course, Muhammad Ali. And even to this day, he has so many quotes that I finally understand make sense. I kind of just thought they were inspirational, like, oh, that's so poetic. But now they actually make sense. Currently, though, there's a lot of female fighters, but Chris Cyborg is just my favorite. Can't help it.
I don't really have any favorite fighters or wrestlers growing up. I've always been really bad at pop culture. I don't really watch TV. I don't watch news. I have a hard time getting wrapped up with other people's pretend lives. So I don't idolize anybody. I know it's weird, I just don't.
Surprise, surprise, Chris Jericho, and I am absolutely honored to have his band Fozzy as my entrance music.
I don't know the answer to this question. I mean, I don't know. Who do I like? No, wasn't when I was growing up. I was going so fast and so well. Who's the super hot wrestler that's in all the movies?
The Rock?
Not The Rock. The other one. He's not in all the movies. He was in Trainwreck.
Yeah, because you said in all the movies.
I know, I did say in all. That is the. I do love The Rock. I'm going to say The Rock, but then also not Stone Cold Steve Austin. But you can't see me, guy.
My favorite wrestlers and fighters are probably my brother and sisters because we would always fight and wrestle with each other.
I think I liked Andre the Giant just because he was so different and he just there wasn't really anyone like him. I think my boyfriend kind of was an impact on that too. So he also liked Andre the Giant. So I think kind of when we found our common interest with Andre, I think that kind of solidified him as a favorite.
My favorite fighters and wrestlers growing up was honestly like the classics. We grew up with a lot of The Rock, and we watched a lot of Smackdown. We still do, actually, me and my dad.
Lita and the Hardy Boys and Eddie Guerrero have always been my favorite wrestlers growing up. Because of them, that's the reason why I felt so badass and tomboyish.
I haven't really had a lot of favorites per se, but I did like The Rock. I mean, the character of him, the way he looks. I'm, I guess, a big fan of that wrestler.
Well, okay, I watched Stone Cold Steve Austin. So I loved watching wrestling. I just was a big fan. So I would watch. He was my favorite, and then The Rock. I used to have him. My first tour, we got to decorate our box, and that's where we put our shoes and makeup or whatever. And for a year and a half, this tour was. So my box went everywhere with me. It was a whole thing. Anyways, and I put The Rock all over my box. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna meet him. I'm gonna show him how tough I am too, as I'm doing Sesame Street Live on tour.